Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me as always is Trevor Scott.
We're not out on the deck.
We're not out on the deck. It was too cold today. It was too cold today to be on the deck. But we're just on the other side of the wall of where we usually sit. We're inside. So, we're still in person. We're still enjoying that aspect. And I think we're going to do some click pitch this week.
Yeah. So, click pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us. On the count of 3, 2, 1 click, we're going to click refresh. We're going to get some words. We're going to throw them at each other. Just normal click pitch, one word each.
Yeah.
Handball them to each other. Nice and easy. Don't need to spike anything.
No spikes, no aces, no... What's the word in table tennis when you're like... Is that a spike? I guess that's maybe a spike.
No smashes.
Smashes, yeah. Gentle lobs.
Yeah, so 3, 2, 1 click.
Unanimous.
Guarantee.
Unanimous guarantee. Ooh. That makes me think of some sort of vote, obviously.
Yeah.
Where you are having to go around and convince people to vote a particular way.
So and it only gets through if it's unanimous.
Yeah, so you need this,
because that is the only
unanimous
guarantee.
Vote. I feel like it'd be good in like a high school or a college environment or something, where there's some sort of student union
that
vote,
or like a sort of like a neighborhood.
Yeah, like a homeowners association sort of thing. Yeah, that could be good too.
Because we go to schools and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it is a natural thing. No, I like the homeowners association.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some vote that you've put forward, or at least you're part of a group that's put it forward, and it's about what? Block party? Is it about the length of grass? Is some of these?
It's about the watering schedule.
The water. Okay.
You no longer want to have to water at night because everyone else has got sprinklers, but you don't. You've just got a hose.
Okay. And so they've had a rule in place that you can only water at night
between 10 and 11. And so it means that at 10 o'clock every night you have to go out and water your lawn.
Your little azaleas or whatever.
Because it has to be green. It can't ever go yellow because
that's also part of that. But which you find, that's fine. You like a green lawn.
Yes.
But you can't afford a sprinkler system.
No, you've actually been. You originally had a very good sprinkler system.
Oh, you've been banned from
using a sprinkler system,
right?
And
you're actually the reason that they originally changed it to you can only water between 10 and 11 because your sprinkler system was so powerful it was just drenching kids walking by in the afternoon.
It would knock paper boys off their bike.
Yeah, it was targeted. It actually had a targeting system built into anything that looked vaguely like a plant.
And it just so happens that the leader of the homeowners committee, her son, is a paper boy. And broke his arm.
Yeah. Broke his arm from your overzealous sprinkler system.
Now, did you intentionally set it to target him? Of course you did.
Yeah. He's a little shit.
Yes.
He never properly delivers the newspaper. It ends up in your flower bed that you've been working so hard.
He throws it through your windows and goes, 100 points.
Yeah, just without even slowing down.
You see him riding up the street and you see lawnmowers going out and he always dodges them.
Yeah.
Couldn't dodge a sprinkler. Yeah.
He wasn't prepared. Okay, I like this a lot. I like this little neighborhood that we build up. And then I think it's a bit of a first person. I'm picturing a first person thing. And it's
a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So it's a court with like 10 houses.
But I think it's
5 each.
I think it's one of these games where obviously you have
it's 11 houses. And she's right in the middle.
Oh, like at the end.
In the middle of the middle of the court part. You know, there's 4 that sort of are on the edges,
and then her smack bang
in the middle, which is why she's
the final boss of having to convince everyone to vote your way, basically. So I'm picturing this as one of those games where there's just lots of little funny details everywhere and people to talk to. And obviously you need to convince all these people, but, they're not all necessarily home.
Yeah.
You have to...
Sometimes you got to sneak through the garbage and find,
That's it. Like, you're finding sort of little clues to then that will eventually build up to be a thing. So it's very non-linear in that sense.
Yeah.
I think there'll probably be some that potentially... when you convince this person, it unlocks something that you will eventually need to convince another person, but maybe. But I think a lot of it can be, it's really just about exploring, talking to people, and it'll be one of these things. Reminds me of, what's that game, like Superland? Do you know is that what it's called?
No.
You've definitely played it. It's like the weird little just gummy people, and it's almost Metroidvania-ish.
Oh, Superland, yes.
But it's like Superland, yeah.
Yep.
That just has you'll just find these little vignettes and these little things, and you can often just unlock something there. So I'm sort of picturing it like that, where, there's people out in their gardens, there's kids riding around, there's pets and things, but the
way I'm imagining it is the people who are on the main part of the land going into the court.
Yeah.
The 6 odd people, 3 each side. They're like the easy people. The 5 in the court bulb section. One of them is like a security expert. One of them is, basically if you get the security expert, you get access to all the cameras.
One of them's like a dog owner or something with 15 dogs that you can't get past unless you...
Yeah. Oh, they're actually a dog walker.
Oh, yeah.
But they house all their clients'
or a
dogs
doggy daycare, maybe. Like a doggy daycare. Yeah.
I just like the idea of the normal people, you're going to get them pretty easily.
And you can do them in any order. It could maybe be like those first 4, or what did you say? No, those first 6?
Including yourself.
Yeah. So those first 5, basically. You can do in any order. You're sort of discovering stuff. But those are the other ones start getting gated, literally in some cases. Behind the stuff that you find out, you have to make some changes to your environment in certain ways to the game state before you can.
Now, I like the fact that it's a homeowners corporation, so the vote doesn't go until you call it.
Yeah,
and so you don't call the vote until you got unanimous.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can be a bit wishy-washy with time, but I certainly don't think we should have a time limit on it. I think it's just...
No. But I think the longer that you go, the more that you've got to tend to your lawn at night, and there's other things that are going on.
I mean, we can have some little mini games, sorts of things, and I think in some cases maybe you have to wait the night or a couple of nights or whatever for something to change, or maybe it is around the mail being delivered.
Such and such has just gone on holiday, and they're on a 3-night cruise. So that you're not getting to them in the next three nights. What are you going to spend your time on today? Who are you going
to... Yeah, but it could also be potentially around certain things that happen at certain times of the day. Like I was saying, the mail's getting delivered. Oh, that if you intercept a mailman and say, oh, I'll deliver that person's mail, I'll hand it to them. Then you have to convince the mailman to give it to you. But if you've got their mail, you can get past their security system. They'll let you to the front door or whatever. And then maybe you have to do something else to get, to gain their trust.
Yeah.
I could picture that. I could picture that being really, really fun.
Yeah.
You could build that all with the Cinti Town Pack too.
Ben and I love ourselves some Cinti.
It's just useful to kit bash stuff together.
It really is. 3 to 1 click.
Yeah. Extension.
Confrontation. So set in the same homeowners corporation.
You need an extension to the vote.
There's an extension going through where...
Oh, someone's extending their house?
Oh, no, they're extending the court.
Oh, they're demolishing that woman's house.
Basically, what happened in the last game is you found out a lot about those people
at the end of the court.
At the end of the court, like all of them were dirty in some way, and that's how you basically you convince them. So all their stuff gets demolished. And
is it becoming no longer a court?
And this becomes a street.
It's connecting through
to the next court. So the next court had something similar, but they've also had some parkland down the end.
Yeah.
So they just kind of
cut right through it.
Cut right through the parkland.
Okay, so we move straight into the sequel. HOA 2.
Electric Boogaloo, yep.
Court is in session. Court ordered. I don't know. Some sort of court pun. Okay, so how do we change up the gameplay in this one then? Because I don't think it should be the same sort of thing.
You're playing the lady this time, the head honcho.
Oh, okay.
Lady.
I thought you were going to say you're playing someone from like the council or the government or something who's trying to deal with these people and get this through.
So she has been like the government have actually collected the taken ownership of her land and putting this extension
eminent domains
on the street, eminent domain. It turns out that like pretty much those 5 houses down the end were all built over an easement that they just
well, whatever. The government, the government can be a bit corrupt as well. They wanted to put a road there.
Yep.
They put a road there.
So basically, the way it's going to actually kind of work, originally it was just supposed to be her house, but she sort of talked the government around to demolishing the other ones in the bulb, so that she got a bigger house and the pick of the new houses.
Right. Okay.
Because I do like the idea of, she's now confronting the people working on it and all this sort of stuff. Like you're having to actually get your house with the best amenities out the front.
Right.
You don't want the fire hydrant at the front of your place. You want it, on the side of the road and all this sort of stuff. So
I'm trying to think if there's some ways. Okay, so hear me out here. Blueprints. The reason I say that is I had a thought of maybe you're involved in like sort of designing your house. And like you said, you're sort of trying to make it the best you can and get the best amenities. But you have some sort of random drafting as such in a way. Now, maybe it's not agreed like blueprints. It's probably not as, it's not each one's a room or whatever, but maybe it's almost a Tetris piece, like a shape that you have to then fit into the footprint of your house. And then
you can see what's coming up next.
And then that's going to have certain effects. And there might be certain synergies when you put things together. Like it's almost a bit of a puzzly sort of thing. But yes, with the backdrop of maybe you've got skills, maybe you've got certain things where it's like, oh, you got something that actually isn't working as well as you wanted. You can go out and like confront the workers and blame them. You basically got your Karen powers to alter your RNG a bit or like undo something or I don't know. I just felt like a sort of a puzzly sort of thing where you're modifying your ability to build the best house. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I do like that. I also like the idea of maybe you don't even play the lady. She's been ousted. She doesn't even want to live in a street. She only wants to live in a cul-de-sac. So you got 6 new neighbours coming in, but the government are sort of building out the houses and giving everyone upgrades based on
right. Yeah. That's interesting. It could almost be then a sort of competitive thing where even if it's not actually multiplayer, or maybe you do make it multiplayer. Where you're almost building up your fortresses that are your houses and then, sabotaging in some ways the other people's ability.
I like the idea of at any time you can choose, yep, this is my house that I want for myself. But do you want to hold out just in case there's something better later on? Because once you choose, that's your house and that's you then go into the next game in the series, whatever that's going to be, and these houses come into play.
We'll have save game, follow on save games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess it depends on then you want to... Is that then about the strategies that you take for all of these houses? And you almost want two phases then. You almost want building the houses and you're in control of various things and you can sort of say, okay, well, I've got this option. I'm going to put it in house A. I've got this other option. Well, that's not going to go well with what I just put in house A. I'll put that in C. And it's like, oh, house A is turning out pretty well. I'm going to focus on making that one good and I'll put all the shit stuff in the other houses. But then some repercussions from that in sort of the next phase of like, okay, I've chosen this house for myself, but because I made that house so shit, like now there's a rat infestation or whatever that's next door.
It's brought down the prices of all the houses. Everyone's
just the general land value and everyone runs you out of town. Or
3 to 1 click. Let's see if we can get something.
Let's see what HOA 3 is going to be. Oh, God, I got housewife. We don't have to use it. But.
You can. I'll use hemisphere.
Okay. I'll use glacier.
Ooh, so one half of the planet is just glacier. Like
but it stops at the equator, and we haven't figured out why.
It's literally the top half, bottom half is all fine. So
something's knocked the Earth into essentially it's been tidally locked to the sun,
or it's gone more south and then tidally locked. So it's still rotating, but it's just like the south is the only thing that's actually.
Yeah, okay. So it's rotating along an axis, but that axis is always directly pointed, aiming towards the sun. So you still get vague, and maybe it's slightly off then. It depends on how that is. I'm trying to decide if you still get seasons or if it's just the South Pole is now the hottest place on the planet and the North Pole the coldest.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I kind of see it.
Yeah, okay, well, that's cool. That's a fun little world. What are you doing, Kaya?
For those listening, that is a cat.
That is a cat. Chasing its own tail. Okay, so is this... So, like, now the equator is the most temperate place on Earth, essentially.
And occasionally, you need to venture into the glacier.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm wondering
if there's kind of like a looter shooter that you're sort of heading.
You cross the equator into the glacier, and there's like creatures, mutated, those that have adapted to the ice realm.
So, what do we know about looter shooters? I think an ice-based looter shooter could be kind of fun. Like
an extraction shooter. Yeah.
You're going in there, like, you choose a city in the Northern Hemisphere and you're like, we're going in there, we're trying to take what we can.
Yep.
Get what we can out.
You've got, like...
there are still, different people living in different areas. It's just, it's always dark.
Yeah, well, I kind of like the idea that there's buildings that have frozen into the glacier, but the insides are still intact, essentially. The glacier is sort of frozen around them. And so, yeah, you've got these people living essentially underground, like under the ice, but in these buildings that were there and that are just across this city. Because then you've got an interesting differential between, okay, you come into the city, you've got the outside area, you've got equipment and stuff to deal with the cold, you've got maybe flamethrowers where you're literally like blasting through snow and stuff to like make a path.
Yeah.
And then you find an entrance to a building and you're like, okay, well now in here is going to be people that we're fighting.
What you're looking for is technology. What you're looking for is things that
and
can be traded.
artifacts in a way, right? This is maybe far future, and this is where all the stuff has been frozen in time to a certain degree. You're looking for information about the old world, the pre-glacial Earth.
So I suppose, when did this happen? What sort of technology are we talking about? Something about it makes me want to say 80s. There's something about going into a 1980s New York where, all the Wall Street sort of... Yeah. Like, they still all look exactly the same Gordon Gekko hair and all that sort of stuff. Like
all the people who are living there still. I do kind of like that. I like the idea that you just find frozen people outside sometimes. Like, it's almost a random event thing, and you get some loot from them, as it were, because you just you find an Encino Man style person from the 80s.
Yep.
And this is hundreds of years later. But they've just been preserved for all this time. But yeah, I like it. I like that it's the 80s, and then you're coming in with all this
Mm-hmm.
modern tech, because essentially anyone who managed to get to the southern hemisphere has survived, has had the opportunity to survive. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's still a hell of a lot of climate disaster and shit with literally changing the way the Earth rotates. But they've been able to thrive to a certain degree, whereas, the other side was just... I mean, again, we've said there's people living there, but they're sort of more stuck in time.
The ones closer to the edges, you get some towns that are lovely, but it's
Yeah. It's still, it feels like they're primitive in a way.
It's like going north of the wall in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It's very different.
But it's going north,
different culturally.
North of the equator.
North of the equator.
3 to 1 click.
Yeah, I like that. That was cool.
Ceremony.
Passage.
You said passage, I'm thinking secret passage straight away. I do like a good secret passage, and I'm thinking this is a destination wedding.
Ooh, okay. I had very different thoughts, but that's okay.
Because I was thinking ceremony wedding, secret passages. So destination wedding at some sort of mansion.
Yeah.
And you're there early. You're checking out the place. Basically,
You got the dates wrong.
no.
Are you a guest or are you...
I think you're a guest, but you're
Are you the 7th guest?
No. I do like the idea of they were able to hire this place, but to keep the booking, someone had to be there.
Right. So they've asked you if you can, because you're unemployed.
So you're there for the week leading up to the wedding.
Yeah.
And shit's going down.
Yeah. Do you
I think it's kind of have you seen the movie Passengers?
Is that the Chris Pratt one?
Yeah.
And where he's like a sex pest with Jennifer Lawrence?
I'm thinking more about being alone
Okay.
and what that does to you. But
Right.
yes, it turns out that you wake someone up and it's literally you've basically doomed them just so that you had someone to
Wait, this happens at the hotel?
No, that happens in Passengers.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So yes, it's not quite a great story.
No, I know what you mean.
An analogy.
Okay,
but
that's one option. Let me just put another option forward because I just had a thought. Have you watched White Lotus?
No.
So each season of White Lotus is set at a different resort.
Yes.
And there's something very interesting about the relationships between people working at the resort and guests of the resort. I wonder if you could do something interesting there where you're in this completely awkward situation because you're here to keep this booking. And maybe it can still be a big mansion, but it's the resort was built around this fancy old architected mansion or whatever, And so there's people staying, down the road a bit, separate from it, like just outside of the grounds or whatever they've built, other little villas and different things. But you're having to go into town, every day. And yeah, just sort of it is this weird isolation, but then dealing with these characters and these people who are technically like working there, and they come and like there are people in the mansion who are still keeping it clean or whatever, and you're sort of just there awkwardly like, oh yeah, I didn't even pay for this and I'm just staying here, and I get, not sort of really knowing how far you can go to ask. And then you start getting like evidence of weird shit happening, like there's corruption or there's cult behavior or there's whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And you could still have some of the isolation stuff, because maybe not quite you're alone for a week with literally no contact, but you're there in this huge mansion overnight and all the workers have left and it's just completely silent. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I do like that idea. Let's see where that can go, because I think you can still definitely have secret passages and that sort of stuff. This is maybe how the workers are getting between places. Usually.
Yeah, well, that's it. That could be part of the stuff. Maybe they're like smuggling stuff. They're using this space. There's an aspect of overindulgence here. There's this huge mansion that's just empty most of the time because they can't act like it's so expensive. They usually can't find people to book it. It just so happens that like your friend who's getting married is marrying a fucking billionaire or something.
Okay. I love the idea that this mansion was scheduled to be demolished. And so the way that they were able to keep this going until the wedding was ready is that you have to live here, kind of like squatters' rights.
Yeah,
like they can't demolish it while you're still there.
Yep.
And so you're being paid by this billionaire to be there. He just so happens to be the groom or whatever, and he just wants to get married at this place.
Yeah, there's some significance there that you find out later. It's probably something dodgy.
Or he just really likes the place, but everyone there at the resort, they know about, once this gets torn down, they can get access to, the vault that's underneath or something like that. Like
something that's been there for decades that
the new owners know all about, and they're coming up on a massive a massive tax debt sort of thing. They need
to demolish this place,
the place before that hits, and it's going to hit this Friday sort of thing.
That creates a fun tension then, because you're just in the middle.
You're just here you're swimming in the pool.
Yeah. You're having the time of your life. But then you start getting, you're like, why do all these workers seem to hate me? Why is there this real attitude from certain people and from the owners or whatever that, but they're still, they're putting on the fake smile, but you're getting this sense below that of, they're like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, that is just creepy and fun. Let's just do a quick one.
Okay.
To finish off with.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, click.
3, 2, 1, click. Violation.
Century.
Okay.
Maybe like something similar to how like copyright laws keep getting extended.
Mm-hmm.
Like something after 100 years is coming due.
Oh, century, not century.
Oh, yeah, sorry, century. CEN, like
I thought it was
years.
Century, so I was thinking about like something guarding
century
something.
Violations. No. Century.
I do like the idea of something around those sort of...
Yeah, something coming due after 100 years, like, and what that means for a certain person, or getting access to something after 100 years, because otherwise you would have been in violation of a court order or of a curse or of a,
Oh, okay. I like the idea of many years ago in this town, a witch came by, said that I'll give you, 100 years of prosperity, but then I'm coming back in 100 years to collect what's due.
Yep.
And
that city was Los Angeles.
the idea being that the elders, they've all died.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And you're the descendants, you're the kids. And she turns up a week before.
A week early.
A week early, just to let you know that in 7 days' time,
yeah,
I'm going to collect what's rightfully mine.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Except for like one guy who's like, "Oh, I think my granddad mentioned this once, but I thought he was just rambling."
Yeah, having to do some sort of investigation into,
like the
4 or 5 families of the town,
yeah,
and that sort of stuff, and sort of it's kind of root trees, but going back and seeing.
It is root trees-esque, isn't it? Particularly because they're presumably all going to be fucking rich in various ways.
4 families,
anyone who stayed,
these 4 families that are hyper connected.
Yeah, I like that. These 4 families of this town. And the history of all their inventions, maybe they've each got their sort of specialties of what they've succeeded in over these 100 years.
So I'm picturing that like the firstborn son of each of these families died in mysterious ways.
Right, yeah, I like the idea of having to figure out essentially what the curse, like what the agreement was.
Yes, because you don't know what the agreement was, and you got basically 7 days to do it. We can sort of play with it in you don't allow a day to move on until you say
No.
Play it away. But it turns out that like the reason why the families allowed their firstborn sons to die is because any descendants of the firstborn son,
right, would suffer in some way.
Would be pruned from the village, and that's like her thing that she's taking on.
Right,
but you find out that like you're actually a descendant from like one of the firstborn sons from before some child out of wedlock from before they died or something that they didn't even know about initially. Yeah. And you can kind of trace it back in some way. And so you realize that this is actually in all the satellite families that are around. They all happen to be somewhat related to these original families through each of the firstborn sons or
right.
in some way, shape or form. So basically, I think you can do a sort of twist towards the end where you can sort of renegotiate the contract and have the witch just take the
grandparents,
the prosperous family instead of the poor.
Yeah, you can have a fun little twist there where you as the innocent people who just happen to grow up as a descendant.
And you didn't even know, like you were always told that your family joined this town, because it was so prosperous, and these four families gave so many.
Yeah, I like this as a combination of root trees and like Demon Masquerade.
Yeah,
where you are building up sort of a family tree of sorts. Maybe not to the same point of root trees, where that's obviously the actual goal that you're trying to figure out, but you have that as a resource that you can then make changes to. Like you might start with, well, here's the known family trees because they're these big popular families or whatever, but you're like, adding branches to it as you discover stuff, or cutting them as you're like, oh, this person was actually adopted, or
You're building a timeline
changing
either.
relationships and timelines and things. Yeah.
I do like the idea of having to build timelines, go back and go, oh, I found this part in the newspaper, so therefore, you know, this was reported on that it happened on this date because, you know, the newspaper office was burned down years ago and you've only got a few microfilms.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. I mean, yeah, obviously some parallels, but
it's more about the timeline.
Yeah, I think it's the timeline. You have a lot of other documents and stuff that you can go through, again, like in that Demon Masquerade way. And we could do a similar thing where it's like, oh, days past, you get more stuff, like you get more evidence each day as things, you know, are discovered.
Yep.
Love it.
Very cool. Okay,
all right.
Let's call it there.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find our previous episodes, you can go to bitstormcast.com. Check them out there. And also visit bitstorm.games to check out the Grant Grover anthology coming soon and all of our jam games and different stuff.
We're still, as of recording, we're still in the midst of the jam.
Yeah, doing a little jam at the moment. So
yeah, it's fun. Mm-hmm. Very good. So the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance, off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. Kind of lost my train of thought there for a second as I was thinking about something with the game. So yeah, just go check that out at kuradust.bandcamp.com. You can download the whole album for free. That song is
give it a listen. So that's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And your grass is too long.